Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Welcome.
everyone.
Hey, Basil.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Nice.
How's it going? Hello, Michael.
Hello,
We
38099.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out if it was a name, but no.
It's like Elon Musk's baby. X2 of the AI or whatever.
Can I call you 38 for short?
Hey, Michael. How are you?
Fine. How you doing?
Good, good. Where are you joining us from?
I'm calling from California, Northern California.
Nice.
All right,
nice.
I think we got a few folks from Northern California. Lance, Archie, are you in Northern California?
Yep, I'm in San Francisco.
Yeah, we're like 10 minutes apart.
Where are you guys located? Where's your headquarters?
So we don't have a headquarters. We're a remote company, but we have a bunch of people based in California. Archie here, Lance as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Our technical corporate registered is in California, but like Nico said, we're spread all over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's in Spain. I'm in Colorado. Got a few folks, China, Italy, Australia, New Zealand, all over.
Oh, nice. So you can go skiing and make it a write-off.
That's right. That's right. It's a business trip.
Yeah, research.
Hey, Edgar. How's it going? Oh, having another one with video. Evo, how are you?
Oh, Evo, you came to some previous events, right?
I
Might be
think you're
muted.
muted. Yeah.
Hi. Sorry. Good morning.
Welcome.
Yes. It's been a long hiatus, but I plan to resume.
Oh, that's awesome. You're a professor, if I remember correctly?
I was a professor.
Was a professor. Cool. Welcome back.
Yes. Back to
How about you? How about you, Michael? What are we working on?
Well,
Sorry.
I am retired, and I worked in high tech. Worked basically on test equipment and process control stuff, and looking at this tool to make a very simple countdown timer with a Bluetooth remote. I mean,
awesome.
Real simple mission. Like
Awesome.
any project, I plan to complicate it with mission creep.
Oh, that always happens.
That will eventually become a Bluetooth rocket. You let it be.
Yes, it'll be an electric, self-driving RV.
Hello, John. How's it going? So any of you guys are planning to join the competition? Like you have projects in mind? Have you heard about a competition that we're launching or not?
Well, I look at a competition as a way of me getting off my butt and doing something. When you think, I said, one of these days I'm going to make this timer. And I said, along comes this contest. And I said, this makes me get off my butt and make it happen.
That's awesome. That's pretty much the intent of the contest. Where like, I bet there's a lot of people over the holidays that got some free time on their hands, build something pretty simple and kick the tires with Flux.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, John, we can hear you now. How's it going?
So what the heck? They always said I'm unstable.
Dehydrated and stuff like that. So
So who else has
We're-
projects that they're working on or planning to enter the competition with?
I haven't decided yet, but I just got some hardware from NXP for Horror Games 3. And that involves a rover and a drone. And
Oh, wow.
I might want to build a shield with a bunch of sensors that I can point. So it needs to be light.
Awesome.
And get some sensor fusion for the data stream that I can. The theme is what was it? Land, sky, and food. So basically farming. Of course, these neither of the devices is big enough to even farm strawberries, but it's the idea basically.
That's cool. So is it sort of like a navigational system along with other sensors?
It's navigation, but also sort of maintenance of the arable land, and of course it's winter now, so everything is monochromatic.
Yeah. So now you have some good time to work on the prototype.
Yeah, well, it's due in February, so.
Oh, I see. Well,
So
this
back
is
in
a
the
great
middle of the-
excuse to spend some time on it.
Yeah, I have to move
yeah.
to Chile or something.
Yeah, very cool.
All right. Any other projects? So just basically, I want to introduce a little bit what this session is about. So if anybody else joined us on any previous events, this one is going to be slightly different in the sense that we usually just share content. We put out a subject and we describe how to design an Arduino Shield or how to design things with Flux or stuff like that. In this session, we're launching our competition, but mostly what we're interested in is understanding what you guys want to get out of the session. So if you have questions about Flux, as we were asking before, if you have projects that you're planning to use for the competition, we'd love to hear about that. And then coach you guys through where you can find templates, where you can find parts, where you can find things like that. So I'm gonna introduce you to the competition and all the instructions for it. But if you guys have questions, projects, ideas, or also want to share what you guys expect to get like out of the competition, out of the session, it would be great if you can start typing that in the chat window so that we can cover that. And that can be anything from if you have a project idea that you want to discuss, that you want to have feedback on, if you already have a project that you've started and you want design review, we have Kerry here as well. She's a former Apple EE that can help us with design reviews. We already have some people preemptively send a few projects that they want to review. But if someone here in this group has that would be amazing. You can get free design reviews. So with that said, let me.
I have a question, but I put it up in the chat.
All right, yeah, and actually I'm gonna start with that question because it's what I have to start with, which is the competition. So the challenge of the competition is to design some sort of hat. Like if you're coming from the Arduino world, or you know what Arduino is, a hat is basically a board or a daughter board that you attach to the main board that has the brains of the microcontroller that has a specific function. Arduino calls them shields. Raspberry Pi calls them hats. Like different platforms call them different things, but they're essentially the same thing. A board that you attach to the main board to to cover a specific use case. It can be motor drivers, it can be sensor boards, it could be like all sorts of things. And the idea of the competition is that you need to design a hat for basically any platform, and we're going to be covering like all these different platforms in a second. And the criteria is that we're going to be using to evaluate is creativity. So ideally something new, something that hasn't been done exactly like that, or that has some sort of twist that that you just can find easily. Extensibility. So if that can be used by someone else to do something else, it's even better. Manufacturability, and that's basically to answer the question. It doesn't necessarily need to be manufactured in the sense that you don't necessarily need to have the end result manufactured to share before the deadline, but the design has to be manufacturable, ideally, to get those points. So if someone wants to manufacture it, they should be able to, right? Does that answer the question?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
So you have here Lance already shared this document where you have all the timelines, prices, and all that. But yeah, this is the competition, and the idea of the competition, like from us, is as Michael was saying, just an excuse to get people to design cool stuff. And what we want is people designing cool stuff in Flux. So there's no ulterior motives. We just want people designing cool things in Flux. And here we're also building a community of people. And each one of us has used or is using stuff and parts and projects from someone else in the community. So what we're trying to promote here is that people design projects, examples, templates that someone else can use, either as a starting point, so they can start from another project, or as an inspiration. So if someone sees a project that you guys designed, say, "Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that you can design that," and then they design their own thing. So ultimately, what we want from the competition is as many cool projects as possible that could serve as ideas or inspire other people to build some other cool projects. And so that's what I was saying, since we're like approaching the holiday period, some of us have more time on our hands. So it's also a good opportunity if you plan to start testing Flux, if you had that in your to-do list for a while, that's kind of a good opportunity to do that. So before I move on to some examples and ideas, do we have any questions?
Yeah, I think there's just one question from the chat, which I answered already, which is about firmware requirements. So there's actually no firmware requirements for this competition. We'll be judging the hardware on its own. And that's exciting for a number of reasons. One is it's hard to make a board and firmware in 2 weeks. And also, you don't have to be constrained by things that you yourself can program. I myself am a hardware engineer. I pretend to be a software engineer sometimes, but I'm not good at it. And so it's fun for me to just be able to design things that are unconstrained. And maybe I'll end up getting help from someone else later to finish up the firmware, but we want to make this competition as flexible as possible. Any other questions from anybody? Otherwise, we can move on. I
don't suppose the Arduino and the Raspberry Pi are the only single board computers that we can design for. For this competition, I'm working with NXP NavQ computers, and they have a different form factor. And
yes, and that's totally fine. I actually have here a list of platforms that I was planning to go through one by one. But what I'm going to say about that is you can use any platform that that you like. Arduino is one, Raspberry Pi is another one. You have ESP32s, you have Feathers, Fire Beetles, M5 Stack, Micro.
Oh, right. Yeah,
there's
you know,
many.
Okay.
Yeah, there's many other boards that I haven't typed in here, but like absolutely, like feel absolutely free to use any platform that you like. And something that is also sort of tying back to what I was saying before about like the spirit of the competition is, in our end, it's also even valuable that you use a platform that is not very widely used in Flux, because that at the end of the day, you're going to be creating a template for the board and also an example project that someone else can use, right? If someone else comes back to Flux and wants to use some of these NXP boards, they're going to find a template. And again, that's what this competition is all about, like providing stepping stones for other people that want to start doing cool stuff in Flux. So
that's right. Yeah, and it's very exciting for us to see all the different platforms that people use. I mean, Nico and I were chatting just before this about some of the systems that he added here. And even though I've been in the industry for 10 years, I didn't know about half of them. And so it's cool for us to see the types of boards that people are using, because then we can use them ourselves and we know about them. So yeah, it's creativity is actually one of the categories that we're judging on. And so, you know, personally, I think that you get extra points for using a non-standard system.
100%. So just to get to that before I get back to the original Arduinos and stuff, I want to quickly talk about these few platforms that I've added links. So all the ones that you can see here that says templates create your own, what that means is that those are platforms that none of us has done examples in Flux before. The same way, Ivo, the one that you just shared. So we don't have templates. So you're kind of like creating your own adventure there, which is, again, amazing, right. Absolutely great. And these are some other sort of a little bit less known examples of platforms.
It's actually not even on the market yet. We're getting basically ahead of the market launch. So last time we did that, it took 3 months to get the documentation. So the adventure has already started. We have all the kits, but we don't have the companion computer.
Typical.
It's a beast, though. It's amazing. It has it's such a multi-capable system. It has sensorium, it has security, it has machine learning, it has 2 different multi-core arms, and wow, can't wait to get my hands on it.
Nice. So if there's any public link, I'd love to take a look at see what's there.
Not really, because it's not on the markets, but I will share a link. Just the only thing that they have provided.
You just have to sign up NDA.
That's public. It's not my.
Cool.
So yeah, just a few, like I'm going to introduce a few of these like other platforms to serve as ideas of not normal things or not sort of common platforms that people might want to use. And also like I love discovering new platforms and all these like different ways of approaching this type of designs. So these are some of the ones I found. And we have this other one here, and hopefully some of them are good for the project that you're planning to do next. So the Fire Beetle is similar to the Raspberry Pi Pico or the Arduino Nano, but it's based on the ESP32, which is a very, very well-known sort of microcontroller module that has a bunch of different wireless connectivity options. The cool thing about this one is that like everything is in stock. And these days having stuff in stock is not easy. So if you're eventually planning to manufacture something with this, you're going to find stock of pretty much every board and every component and accessory that they have, which is amazing. You then have M5 stack, which is another one that's based on the ESP32. In this case, what I found interesting about this one is that they have all the casing integrated with the solution. So if you have to design a hat, you only need to care about the casing for the part that you're designing, and all the rest is just taken care of. There's a multitude of different accessories and modules, and it's crazy the amount of people that start using this platform and the rate which is growing.
Do they offer the casing? The cases?
Sorry?
Do they offer the cases?
Yes. So each module comes with the case. So you just need to stack them up.
Right, but if you want to build your own module, can you get a case from them?
Yeah, there are standard casings with like either no openings or like standard openings. Yes, you can find those like those kind of like rings. I don't know how they call them, like these ring cases. They have a bunch of like standard ones with USB sort of openings, one with no openings, some with just like ventilation openings. And yeah,
that's sweet.
Again, that's a cool thing. You just grab a standard case ring and just slap it in there, and you have a full like cased solution, which is not very common in this type of platform. So I think that's
well. This is borrowed straight from CubeSats.
Oh yes, yeah.
Miniaturized, of course.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool platform. I've been following it for a bit now, and starting to get traction. So a good one to keep into your radar. Then the other one that I like is the Micromod. So this one is not a platform like on its own. So it's not exactly as the ones that you're used to. It's more like a standard of connecting things with each other. But it uses the M.2 standard, and they already have a bunch of different boards with a bunch of different capabilities. So they have like super powerful microcontrollers, even ARM cores, or things that can run Linux, and all the way down to like the Raspberry Pi 2040, which is like a very, very low power microcontroller.
So this is kind of the reverse of what you're asking for. You're asking for a daughter board, but these boards are actually the main computers.
Yeah, I mean, and in this case, what you can design is the carrier, right? So you can design the carrier here instead of the module, and you just slap the module.
Got it. Yeah. Wow. Cool.
Yeah, these ones are pretty good. Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you have the templates for those? Because this is kind of a.
No, we don't. I was planning. I started doing one, so it might be ready in a few days. But
okay.
Yeah, there's nothing there yet. I mean, the good thing is that it's just super easy. We do have M.2 modules, so the only thing really that you need to care about is the M.2 connector, which is standard connector. And then all the other stuff is something that you might want to you can design yourself. The pros of this platform is that it's very good for like more like industrial use cases. Things do not connect with sort of like flimsy headers. It's a like a standard M.2 with a screw. So that is much better in terms of like mechanical security, let's say, vibration and stuff. And most of these boards are pretty high quality. So like if you're planning more like industrial or things that eventually might need to sell at volume, that's probably a much better option. And you also have a bunch of different accessories and stuff that SparkFun sells. But yeah, pretty cool platform. Here you see there's like modems, like it's all sort of different different modules that you can use. So with that said, do we have any questions in the chat? I haven't been. Oh, this is the.
Yeah, there's a few that I'll just call out. I think we're answering most of them in line. There's a couple questions about what types of things can you import into Flux. So currently we support importing KiCad parts. We unfortunately don't yet support importing KiCad projects or other tools parts. But I think most other tools, and especially a lot of the websites like Ultra Librarian or SnapEda, allow you to download parts in KiCad format. So then you can use those to import into Flux, and that's an easy way to get parts into Flux. Lance linked the document page that explains how to do that, and then I also added a video that walks you through that whole process.
Cool.
And then there's a question about if we'll dock points for small errors in designs. No, we will not dock designs for small errors. We of course want the boards to be as close to functional as possible, but I mean, even in a very professional context, first revisions of designs always have little bugs. And so this is not, we don't expect it to be perfect after, 2 or 4 weeks. So we're judging based on the intent of the design and based on a little bit of the ability to match that intent. We of course wanted to see the right ICs in there, the right types of connectivity. But if you're missing a pull-up resistor, you have the wrong size pull-up resistor, that's not something that we're going to dock points for. And we also, one thing I should mention quick is Nico and I and a few others on the team are offering to review designs from people who are in the competition. And so if you start working on something, you can send us a link to your design and we'll take a look at it and drop comments. And so that's a good way to kind of check the quality of your design before you send it in for the final entrance.
Yeah, exactly. And something that to add to that point is we want to be part of the design as much as you guys want. So let's just share the link to our Slack community. If you're planning to create a project, you can like intro yourself in our Slack. And if you start your project before the end of next week, we can help you through design reviews. I'm going to quickly share now, show now in Flux how you can add other people to your project, how you make projects public, and so on. But the idea is that we want to be part of the process if you guys want. So if you have questions, if you want design reviews, if you don't know exactly which IC you might want to use, if you don't find part in Flux, we're there to help you out. So again, the idea of this whole competition is to share with the community, and is our idea and our goal is to be able to interact with you guys again by providing parts that you might not find, or examples or ICs that you might not know about, or design review, so you can avoid those issues just by letting us know that you're ready, and we will be happy to design check for that. And actually, it's like we already have, as I was saying before, some people that share their projects and asked for design reviews, and then carry in a bit. We're going to do sort of a live design review of one of these projects, and we can do the same thing for yours if you share that. So the other thing that I wanted to quickly cover is, so that there are a few features in Flux that you might need to be aware of to basically get the most out of it and sort of like start with the right foot in the competition. So first I'm going to quickly share this this doc that has a bunch of useful links for this in the competition. I'm going to send you guys an email after the session with the recording and all these links, so you have it there. But I'm also going to be sharing that via email. So don't worry if you haven't copied that, some of these things. So in Flux, we have a bunch of different templates for different platforms. So we have templates for different Arduino boards or different models of the Arduino platform. So we have the MKR0, we have Arduino Micro, Nano, the Uno. Same thing goes for the Raspberry Pi. We have the standard Raspberry Pi hat, the hat type for the Pico. And you can find all these projects. So when you join so when you start your app, your Flux app, the first thing that you see is your profile. And you can search for this type of templates just by typing hashtag template and then Arduino or Raspberry Pi or anything. So you can find them this way, or if you click here on your profile and go to feature projects, you're also going to find templates and projects. The idea of all these templates is, again, to serve as inspiration. So if you don't know where to start, you can find inspiration here, but also, and especially on the template side. So here you have a template for the Arduino MKR. If you go to the PCB section, you can see that it basically has almost everything you need to start your design. So it already has the sort of 3D model of the main board, all the headers in the right position, and the pin labels for all the pins that specific board exposes. So if you're planning to do a board with the Arduino MKR, you can start with this one and then basically save you a bunch of steps. And here in the comments, you'll find, like, for example, whoever, like the guy that created this template added a bunch of example projects that use this template as a base. And if you click on any of those, you're going to find sort of complete example projects for that board. And if you're interested in any, so the first feature that you need to be aware of, if you're interested in any of the templates that you find, the way that you get your own copy of the template is you go to the Flux menu here and click on clone project. And as soon as you do that, you're going to have your own copy and your own profile of this project or template. And then you can immediately start dropping parts in and start creating on top of that project. So yeah, the first feature is cloning. So that way you can start with one project. The second feature, and I already quickly showed that, is the commenting feature. This is the way that we do design reviews in Flux. So if any of you shares the project and has questions, basically when we do the design review, just drop comments. Well, in this case, I don't have comment access, but if I did have comment access, I will be able to right click and insert comment, and I will be inserting comments. Me or whoever's doing the design review, we're going to insert comments directly on your design. And we can have a conversation there around why you chose a specific IC, if you need to do a different layout, if the trace width is not the correct one or whatever. That's the way we usually interact, which is much easier because we're talking about something specific, which is where the comment is dropped. So that's the second feature. So we have cloning, we have commenting, and then the other feature is sharing or sharing and permissions. So this is the way that you decide who has access to your project. So let me grab one of mine. So basically here in this project, if I click here on the share menu, I can give access to specific people to my project. So I can either do a general, anyone can edit, view, or comment. And this is the type of what we call public project. And this is the type of projects that you'll need to create for the competition. So people should be able to see the project so that we can evaluate and assign the prizes and the points. But you can also, apart from this competition, if you don't want to have anybody see your project, what you can do is click on the advanced button and then give specific users access to your project. For example, I can give Jarwin, in this case, access to my project, and then I can give him edit access, view, or comment access. So in the frame of this competition, if you start a project and you're not ready to make it fully public yet, but you still want a design review, what you can do is you can give us individually access, and we can design review. And then once you're ready to make it public, you can then give access to the whole community. So that's how access works. So that is the third feature, and there's two more features that I wanted to quickly talk about, which is parts and submodules. So here in the menu on the left, we have what we call the library, or the community library, and here you'll find thousands upon thousands of different parts that someone from the community made, which makes it amazingly fast to design, right? So if, let's say that you want to do something with an STM32 microcontroller, you type STM32 and you instantly find a ton of different parts that someone in the community already made, that you can just basically drag and drop into your design. Oh, this one's a big microcontroller. But yeah, like you just basically drag and drop it, and you already have the symbol, you already have the footprint, you already have basically everything, and you don't need to create the part from scratch. So going back to some whoever asked the question, it is likely that the part that you're looking for is already in the library. If it's not there, we already shared how can you import parts from different from KiCad into Flux, or you can even create your own from scratch if you wanted to. But yeah, like first give it a try at the library. You might find the part you don't need to design anything. So here you find, let me actually expand the drawer to show more information about each of the parts. And you have a bunch of filters here down in the library. So you can filter by parts or submodules that you own, or parts or submodules that you've started. By start, we mean if I open one of these parts, let's say that I found this part and I like it, I can click on star, and that will basically mark it as a favorite. And then you can use that as to filter parts. You can use items that have a footprint. So this is one filter that I usually recommend people to click and have on, because this basically filters out parts that only have a symbol and do not have a footprint. So if the part doesn't have a footprint, most likely it won't be useful for you. So you can filter all them out. For example, here you can see that the result changed because basically this part, for example, doesn't have a footprint, so it's not really useful. So if I click here, I already have that part with footprints. You can do the same with layouts or submodules, and I'm going to talk about that quickly now. Stuff that has a simulator model. So Flux has a built-in simulator. We won't be discussing about that today, but if you're interested, you can go into our docs and do live simulation of your projects, or parts that have a 3D model or a link to a data sheet or manufacturer part numbers. So the last thing, and before I go into submodules, which is another cool feature of Flux that you might need to be aware of, let me quickly recap. So we talked about how do you clone a project. So if you find a template or an example project that you might want to use as a starting point, here's how you clone it and make your own copy so that you can edit, modify, and etc. We talked about how you share your project to either make it fully public or give specific people access to your project. Again, useful for design reviews. If you want us to give a quick look to your project before you share it, or before you make it public, we'll be glad to do that. We quickly talked about the commenting feature. Here in this case, since I have access to this project, I can insert a new comment. And this is the way that we usually interact when we're doing design reviews, because it's easier to talk about stuff directly in the design instead of just outside the design. We talked about the library and how to search and filter for parts, so that you can quickly find parts and avoid the pain of having to design your own part, add the footprint, add the 3D model, and so on and so forth. There's many, many thousands of parts already in the library. So chances are that you find the one that you're looking for. And the last one that I wanted to quickly talk about is basically another way of designing faster, and it's what we call submodules. So just to show you a quick example, let's find this part, for example. This is an IC, a make voltage regulator. And it basically acts as any part that you're used to if you come from KiCad or Altium or any other EDA tool. If I right-click and open, what I see is what's inside that specific part. In this case, since it's just a, quickly go back there. This is just a part. What I find inside the part is just the pins. So there's nothing inside. There's nothing inside this part. If I go to the PCB editor of that part, what I found, of course, is the footprint, right? So that's the footprint for that specific part. But there's a special type of part that we call in Flux submodule. And the way you find submodules is you click on this filter, and let me use this one, for example, which is a USB-C receptacle. Now, in this case, if I open this part, what I find is that it doesn't have just pins. It's its own full layout, right? It's its own full schematic. And if I go to the PCB, that schematic is already pre-laid out. Now, that's the interesting part. So when I drop this part into my project here, and I go to the PCB side, to the PCB editor, what I'll find is that let me find the actual component. This one. What I have here is a full layout. So it's not a single part, but a full layout. And then I can connect this sub layout with other parts of my design. And then basically I'll directly connect the full layout to my design. So this basically works, or is useful in cases where, for example, in this case, like you have a USB-C with a 3.3 volt converter, and I just drop the whole thing, and I don't need to worry about having the port and then to add the 3.3 volt, the 3.3 volt converter and all that. So I just basically have the full solution in one package. So basically extra points in your designs if you use these submodules, because again, people will eventually not only be able to reuse your project, but also they might be able to reuse a specific submodule that you've designed. Which, for example, in this case, this is one that I use a lot because most microcontroller boards or most microcontrollers use 3.3 volts. So just by dragging this part, I automatically have USB-C connectivity plus 3.3 volt power rail for the microcontroller board. So yeah, those are the few features that I wanted to quickly touch on for the competition, because these are usually the most useful when starting this type of IoT projects. So reusing templates, sharing, commenting, also reusing parts and reusing submodules. So that is what I had in terms of like tips and useful features for Flux. So now the sort of I'm passing the prompt to you guys. Like if there's any question that you have in the chat, or I'm mute and you can ask question. I would also love to know. So some people already shared that they have projects in mind. I'd love to see and to hear what others are working on. You have a project that you're planning to run for the competition. Do you need any help, ideas? What do we got? And do we have any questions?
First we have a question that I already answered in the chat a little bit about how do you edit a sub layout? So one of the cool things about sub layouts is there's a ton of them that come from the community already. And I actually use them quite a lot when I'm trying to make a board quickly. It really only takes maybe 30 minutes to put a shield design together. If you're using submodules, a lot of things exist already. There's the USB connector that Nico showed. There are some prepackaged sensor options, some power supplies. And so really you can work at a higher level in order to make your design a reality much more quickly. The specific question though was, if a submodule is close to what I want, but not exactly what I want, can I go and edit that, and how would I do that? And you can open these parts and you can fork them just like any other project. And then you can go and edit and add the things that you want to. So Nico, the specific question was, how do I add VUSB to this and expose that? We don't need to walk through the whole process, but maybe you can explain a little bit about how you'd go about that.
Yeah. So the main thing that I wanted to say is that any project that you have access to, you can clone and create your own copy of that. And that includes projects, parts, submodules, anything. So if you have, let's say, the URL and you go into that part, for example, let's say I want to modify this sub layout. I either right click on open, if I already have it on my canvas, or I can also even find it in the library and then click on the name here of the part, and then I will open that specific part, which is here. Now, I don't have write access or edit access to this, right? So I can't modify it. I cannot move it. I cannot do anything. But if I click here in the Flux menu and then clone the project, what I have is I'm going to have my own version of this sub layout. And since it is my own version, I have full access, full control of what I do when or I don't do with that. So let's do whatever quick example. If you wanted to change the USB type, you can just delete this one, find the USB, was it USB-B, if I recall correctly, just drag that part in, you reconnect, I don't remember exactly which was connected, I'm just doing this example. You reconnect it back. Of course, you'll need to fix the layout in this case. You'll need to just add this back to the edge and then reroute all the points. And then as soon as you do that, and this is a key element or a key step that you need to do. So in order to, when you clone this project or this part, it became your own project. For this to be available on the library, you need to go to the Flux menu and then click on Publish to the library. If you don't do that, you'll still be able to see the project and use it, but you won't find it in the library. So that's kind of the difference between a project and a part or a component, right? A project is not in the library. A part or a submodule or what we call components are in the library. They are searchable in the library. Before you click on Publish to library, it won't be available there. So again, just clone it, modify, do whatever you need, and then republish to the library. And then as soon as you have that done, you can go back to your project here. And now I might need to refresh to have the part updated. And then if I do USB-C, see, I just have this one. This is the one that I just modified, and I can drop it in. And I'll have my USB IP module.
Yeah, and this is a really effective way to. I think so. And that's a really effective way to leverage other people's work. Like one of the ideas in electrical engineering that has persisted in the industry for a long time is if you're working on your own and you don't have a huge group behind you, or you don't have an organization, you don't have a lot of other things to leverage. You use a new tool, you maybe download like the SparkFun library or something like that, and that's all you have as a jumping off point. Used to be that you didn't even have like SnapEdit and Ultra librarians, so you have to make all your parts on your own. But it's really nice to be able to start from other people's designs. So sublayouts is a great example of that, where you can use someone else's partially finished block or fully completed block. You can also do that, as Nico said already, with other people's projects. And so you can browse in Flux, find projects that you like, and instead of maybe they're like 90% of the way to what you want to do, you can just fork their project and add the little bit that you want to. And so this is one of the reasons why we're really excited about fostering this community content, so you all can have more options to start from.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I was saying beforehand, that you get extra points for introducing new platforms or new templates, because like, you never know who's going to come next and reuse the templates that you've done, or the projects or that modules that you've done. This competition is kind of like an excuse to foster that community and create cool projects. So we know that Ivo is planning to join the competition. Michael was planning to as well. I'd like to hear from the other folks. I don't know, John, if you're planning to join the competition, if you had heard about it or not. Edgar, Jason.
Yeah, I heard about it and found it quite interesting. Just like it's like a new tool to use, and kind of what we're doing where I work at. We're also looking very modular, very much the same way, but using higher tools like OrCAD or Altium, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But actually taking this into like a workbench type of instrument or a tool, to where I can measure, saying power, current, and voltage, but also have an electronic load associated with that. And then that way I can adjust it in a very easy manner. Then also, if I don't have that, I can actually connect it to a computer and have it automate the process. I want this size load, how much current am I drawing, change the load, and so on. And so become more of a tool for the experimenter or the guy on the bench saying, I'm trying to design something, but I have variable loads, what's going to happen, type of thing. So anyway, that's kind of like what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, that's great. So I just heard a noise. Someone. present something? Okay. Yeah, that's great. So as I was saying, just join our Slack community. We'd love to hear and see the process and help you guys out with if you find parts that are missing or have questions or anything. We'd love to help you out. We already started hitting some very cool use cases.
In fact, that's one of the first things before starting a project is actually looking at the library. What parts do you have? What parts are available? The footprints and all that. Once that's there, from a schematic to a PCB, that's kind of straightforward. But getting the parts into the design, that's the challenge.
Yeah, and also feel free to let us know if you have some specific parts that you want that you're missing. Again, you can add them on your own. But we also have some people in the community and people sponsored by Flux that will add the parts that you need to the library. So if you get us the list of parts that you're planning to use for your project, we'd be happy to grade them all for you and then just upload it to the library.
Mm-hmm.
So is anybody else has any projects that they're planning to join the competition with? James 38. Do you have any guys? Do you guys have any projects or I have an interest in joining the competition? Feel free to type in the chat if you cannot unmute.
Hey, were you talking to me?
I was talking to you.
Okay. Yeah, I was telling Lance I'm working on releasing an app right now, so I'm kind of listening in on the side.
Okay.
But yeah, we do have kind of a lower priority hardware project that's been hanging around for a while. That would certainly be appropriate for this. Probably an ESP32 a shield to go on that, and it would have a HX711 signal amp for a strain gauge, and also a laser time of flight sensor. And basically we're integrating power, or we're watching to see something move and how much force is applied to it, and coming out with the force, the wattage applied to the system, if that makes sense. So that'd be something that's the thing we would work on if we had time to work on it. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, so some people might use these few weeks of holidays. Some people have more time in the holidays. Some of us have less time. But yeah, same offer. So if you're planning to actually do it, but you need help with parts or submodules or anything, let us know. We'll be happy to make everything ready for you to just drop the parts in and start do the fun thing, which is doing the design itself.
Yeah, I totally appreciate it. And I imagine other people have the same situation, even when it's not the holidays. Sometimes you want to keep you have a project off to the side that you're not really supposed to be working on, but it's kind of fun, right? And so when you're totally burned out on the thing you're supposed to be doing, you kind of go over there and you're like, I'm going to do this. It's kind of worthwhile and it's fun, right? So that's, I'm sure folks have projects like that. That's what this one is for us at the moment. So with any luck, I'll get burned out in the next few days on what I'm supposed to be doing, and kick over and play around with that.
Here's hoping you get a little burned out.
I know, right? I'm always right on the edge like everyone else. But yeah, I love the way this is. I've been watching this over the couple of years here as you guys have been working on it. Looks like it's really coming together. It's exciting to see.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks. All right.
Logistical question: are you guys going to have a specific, separate competition channel on Slack, or how should we reach out if we want some help, as you offered?
We do have a specific competition channel, don't we, Lance? I think you shared the link. if I'm not
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah. It's just called competition. So on the announcements channel, you can find it there. It's a little tricky to get into. I guess you have to know that the name competition is a channel to join it.
Yeah, and so you can join the competition channel. You can reach out for questions there. You can also DM me on Slack. I'm pretty sure my username is just Carrie, so that's kind of easy to find. I was going to drop my email here as well, but I think that this is going to be recorded, so I don't want the entire internet to know it. But just find me on Slack, DM me, and I'll help you out with any questions that you have.
Yeah, this is the competition channel in Slack, and you can reach out to any of us just with the ad. You can just type myself or Carrie, or even just straight in dump your question, and one of us is gonna be there monitoring that. So like you don't even need to ping specifically.
Yeah, I mean, you can also use any of the other channels. There's like a share channel where you can get design reviews and feedback. So we're not like militant about where you post. So, some people get nervous about like, I don't know where to post my question. So
whenever you think it might be remotely similar, just ask.
We're not gonna ban you or anything.
That's the curse of Slack.
Yeah, totally.
One single conversation in several channels is kind of hard to.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's an awesome. Everything about the competition is great except for the 2 weeks. It's going to be tough.
Well, hopefully you can find some sublayouts that help you get the design together really quickly.
Not for the nav queue, that's for sure.
Yeah.
True.
But maybe that will be my contribution.
All right, but yeah, like the same goes for parts. So if you kind of already know what type of parts you might want to need, you might need for your design, feel free to drop the list here in the like either the competition channel or there's a request a part channel, whatever you want. Like people actually do it all the time. They just paste a bunch of different parts that they need, and we upload those parts to the library. As I was saying before, like when you get to design, like now that you have a short amount of time, you can do the fun part, which is the design, not creating the parts. So we can get that done for you. All right. So I think we're on time, and if we don't have any last minute questions, we can wrap it up.
Sounds good.
Just quickly before we leave others, can I make 2 projects? Yes, for sure. You can submit.
Oh my God.
Submit the projects. But yeah. All right. So that's it then.
Right.
Thanks everybody for joining, and we'll hope to see you on the competition. Hope to see your designs done. Let us know if you're even planning to join, but you don't know if you have time. Just quickly tell us, hey, I'm planning to join, but I don't have time. I might need help, whatever. We just want to know that you're planning to participate, so that we can make sure to follow up with you. All right. Bye, everybody.
Cool.
Have a nice
Thanks, everyone.
rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Good luck.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.